Everyone, welcome to another great episode of Smooth Business Growth Podcast, where we share 15 minutes of fast-paced, pure marketing strategies proven to move the needle in your business. So I'm your host and Captain Lyndsay Phillips. I'm the founder of Smooth Sailing Business Growth, where we help busy entrepreneurs attract and convert customers faster through powerful and consistent content marketing. In fact, if you go to smoothbusinessgrowth.com, at the end of the show, you can download your social media roadmap to help you do just that. So today's SEO'd world ranks impressions over legitimacy, and it comes down to a numbers game, right? And in order to get the most of the media's increasing reach, you have to be newsworthy. So today we're going to learn how to become a media mogul with serial entrepreneur, coach, and host of the Swift Kick Show, none other than Timothy Craggette. So let's set sail. Welcome aboard, Timothy.
Thank you very much, Lyndsay, for having me. I'm stoked. I'm ready to just do this. So let's get it.
Rock on, baby. Alrighty. So, I mean, we all have so many misconceptions when it comes to media attention, and we all want it, but we do have misconceptions. So what do we think we need, and what do we really need?
The beautiful thing about media is it's one of those mechanisms that's 24/7 and it's feverous. So there's always opportunities to feed the machine. And for us as entrepreneurs, it's our duty to get the messaging out for what's important to us, what we want people to know about, not just using it as a means of selling, but a means of informing and having that information lead to the sales opportunities and to lead into the brand awareness and everything else that comes with being featured.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, of course, when we think of media, we're just like, to be on like Regis and Kelly, their show, or like these big networks and what have you. I mean, we do have, these lofty plans, and we're are a little starstruck sometimes. Mm-hmm. Where do you think our expectations should be? Like, and same with like, where do you start?
Beautiful question, and I'm glad you asked. The simple answer is start anywhere, but the tactical answer is go through the ladder. So what I mean by the ladder is there's many outlets that are right within reach that everyone has access to that a lot of people just don't utilize. Totally. We're talking about the online sources, the YouTube channels, the podcasts, the internet radio, and then we're talking about terrestrial stuff. We're talking about local radio, community radio, local television, terrestrial television. There's so many pockets that we can touch, and the scarcity is just not there. It's about the information of getting out there and getting in contact with the people that put you in a position to be featured. So the simple advice is start honing that message and putting it out into the pockets that are the easiest to reach to get you started on the ladder, because then that eventually will move you easier to those bigger outlets, like the CNNs, the MSNBCs, the Forbes, the Entrepreneur, the Regis and Kelly. No, it's not even Regis anymore.
I know. I don't even know what it is.
Kelly and Ryan?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So all those national outlets love to hear from people who already show that they got the chops.
Yeah.
So start getting those chops in and showing that the newsworthiness that you have has a nice laundry list that they can go back to and say, okay, that person definitely needs to be featured.
Yeah, because I mean, those bigger networks, they want to know that you've somewhat been there, done that, and you know the ropes, and you're vetted, and if you've been featured, a whole bunch of times by some of the smaller or then it's like you've been asked to go back, so therefore you must have some merits.
Yeah, and just to add to that, the beautiful thing about starting with the smaller outlets is that you build the relationships.
Yeah.
And this is where people really miss the point. And I tell this to everybody that talks about media. Media is a human economy. It's a human economy. It's about connectivity. It's about being interested beyond the feature. There's so many times where there's guests that we have on SwiftKick where I'm like, I would love to have you back, because we just have such a great rapport. And some of that is nurtured on their side. And I have no problem wanting to bring them back. So when you get that feature, no matter how big or small it is, just really think of the human element, because that's the thing that will propel you faster than just trying to say, I'm an expert at XYZ.
Right.
You can always say, I have somebody for you, and they can usher you into the bigger outlets.
That's true. I mean, the relationships are everything, right? And it makes you more memorable. You stand out, and people will do favors or get you in the door or whatever it may be. I know sometimes I think we're all like numbers and we want to get things accomplished, but sort of forget about that part of it, right?
Yeah.
Now, are there any tools that can help us kind of get featured or get rolling?
Absolutely. Your best friend is the internet.
Yes.
To make it sound so simple. But it is. The thing about the media machine is that it's fed off of current events and topics that are top of mind. And one of the best ways to actually really ride into any type of outlet is something that we actually teach a lot of people what we do, and that's newsjacking. So with newsjacking, that's actually seeing what's on trend. Right. And being able to insert yourself into that feature or that story, so that way you then become the expert that can define the story, that can give the story breadth, and also make it have legs to sustain. Because there's always a need to have subject matter experts say yes, no, or indifferent, and because. Right. And inserting yourself into pre-existing stories is one of the fastest ways to get featured and to also be part of the conversation. So Google's your best friend, their news section, or your interest. The second tool are the podcast directories. And the reason I say the podcast directories is because the shows that are ranking in, like, for instance, in iTunes, the new and noteworthy, the shows that are ranking there in that section are the temperature of society. It's where people are today. So it then tells you where you need to carve your message as well. So just giving you two quick ones, Google and the podcast directories, gets you started. And I'll throw one really quick one in there just to kind of even it out, because I like threes. I don't know. And the other thing is just paying attention to your own local media. And when I say local media, it's not whatever tragedy that they're reporting on, but mostly their interest. Because the other side is the interest stories. The
human interest stories,
Yeah, the interest stories there are the things that they try to insert into the news in order to bring levity. So, all the times that you hear about all the bad things that happen in your local area, and then they give you a palate cleanser at the end. Well,
palate cleanser, I love that.
Yeah.
It's so true, though.
Yeah, so then you can be that palate cleanser, and that always will get you featured no matter what. So 3 tips on that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Podcast directories and the news itself for the interest stories.
Yeah, perfect. And really, when you're doing that, because I don't often think of that, you're almost creating urgency for yourself to be in now, not like 3 months from now, right? Because it's current and it's happening. And I guess, like, do you need to have a little bit of creativity then to be able to put a spin on what your expertise is so that it's fitting the news story or what's going on in the times?
Absolutely. The whole thing of being able to have an angle, and that's what we call it, of course, is your way of introducing your own opinion, your own thought process to what's going on, or to whatever it is that you're bringing interest to. The idea that there's 1,000,001 ways to do one thing, well, you can come and do 1,000,002. Right. And that is totally unique to you. No one else will ever have it, even though it might be a shared opinion. It won't be expressed the way that you express it. Yeah. So, having a unique spin, having a unique angle. The tip for that, the blogs. Blogs are really great for figuring out angles because when you look at the blogs that you like to read their headlines.
Yeah.
And then you can see what their angles are. And then you can figure, okay, well, what's my different perspective? And that can help you with your pitches.
Awesome. That's a great tip.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, I have to bring up fake news because it's out there.
Yes.
And so, I mean, what has that done, to the credibility of the media?
Well, let me tell you. So fake news, that term has become a term of endearment for the wrong reasons. The issue with that for the media is that it's made it more strenuous for us to be valid, because then everything now is completely scrutinized. When you thought the media was bad prior to the events of 2016, it just got a lot worse because now it had a name, a term that went with it. But what it's done for the media, for people like yourself, it's actually opened up the door for a more global conversation, which means your media personally can expand way beyond where it could have ever went before. We're talking about citizen journalists now. We're talking about the rise of contributors on major publications.
Really?
And we're talking about the growth of community communication. So that just opened up the door for easier access.
I'd say. I would have thought it would have been the other way around, because everyone would be skeptical about what you have to offer, whether it's true or not, that they'd scour it and be pickier on what they release.
It's interesting. All it did was actually just raise more awareness. When you think about all the movements that have now come up, we're talking about the movements with the kids protesting gun violence. We're talking about the Me Too movement. We're talking about all these other things, these social events that have now raised more awareness than we ever had. And now we're starting to get more coverage. When we're starting to see people that are using their phones more, or people that's writing more, it opened up the door for bigger outlets to say, we want those clicks. We want that buzz. We'll give you a space. And it opened up the door for everyone else to become featured.
That's interesting, because really it's almost like the media is looking to the community and people and saying, I hear you, you want your voice to be heard, so we're letting you. Absolutely.
And it's a byproduct of pretty much technology and innovation.
Yeah.
Once we had the ability to become citizen journalists, the big outlets took notice to that. And you would think that they would be more cautious and be more meticulous. And that's not even the right word, but I'm going to use it anyway.
No, I make up my own words all the time.
But in actuality, what it did was put the power of the press in the people.
Yeah.
And now the people have more power to express, backed by the legitimacy of the media.
Yeah. And the opportunity to make our own decisions.
Absolutely.
And our thoughts and opinions, you know what I mean, versus it being put on us.
Yep. And with all of the advents of the spaces like YouTube and SoundCloud and all these other types of places that are allowing the voices to raise above the noise, media had to follow suit. It could not just have its personalities drive the conversation. The conversations are backed by the people. And so
that's awesome. So obviously we as entrepreneurs have way more opportunity than we even thought possible.
Way more now than it's ever been. Absolutely. Without a doubt.
So what is your take on paid media and how does that fit into the equation?
Good question. I think that it goes parallel. The opportunity for paid media to match with traditional media is a powerhouse move. Yeah. The trick to it is, though, that paid media is a budget-conscious way of communication, while traditional media is a time investment. Yeah. So I would never tell anyone not to do paid media. In fact, for our business, we do it as well. But I will tell you this: the primary focus for me and most of my guests, most of my peers, is to really use traditional media as a driving force and then support it with paid media.
Yeah, because some people, they sort of feel like they want to, skip the hard work and just take a shortcut. But I like, and you do need the organic, the truly vetted, like you've earned it, right?
Absolutely. If you put it in perspective, page one on Google has never been harder to crack.
I know.
With them changing the rules as to the SSL requirements, you're starting to see more authority sites take page 1, 2, and 3. But the funny thing is, if you're utilizing media that are authority websites, you're feeding into the machine again. So
that's true.
So don't discount media as being, I'm putting this time doing these interviews, No, you're carving your message, because when they search you, a perfect example, one of my guests, Ulysses Osuna, who's a great person to follow. If you type in his name, he dominates page 1, dominates page 2. And he's my idol when it comes to page domination, just because of how well he's done it. But it's traditional media that Google looks to. So yes, use it.
Yeah, and it's not an overnight thing, right? It's a long-term game.
It's a long-term game with lasting benefits. Media don't typically delete stories. So even something that you could do, let's say you did something 10 years ago, it's in the archives, and chances are now it's actually indexed and ranked. So that means that something you do today could very well last you well into the future of your ventures, and support you the same way it is for Ulysses and a few other people.
Absolutely. And it's not something that can be, it's like if you're an author, that can't be taken away from you. It's out there.
It's there. Yep.
Same thing. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, how can people, I know you've got your own podcast show, which is killer. So how can people find you, your podcast show, and how you can help them with their media? Sure.
So I highly recommend everyone listen to radio, not just mine, but radio in your local area, because it's great perspective. But on any of the podcast directories, you can get any of the replays for the radio show, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, Radio America, and Spotify for the Swift Kick Show. And if you want to get more in depth with the show, www.swiftkickshow.com. And facebook.com/Swift Kick Show. And if you want to talk more on actually doing the media thing yourself, I am more than happy to have a conversation with you.
Awesome.
Just find us on Facebook, the Swift Kick Show, and just shoot a message, and I'll be happy to help out in any way I can.
Yes, I can account for that. Timothy is very giving and very helpful and very approachable. I know, you're awesome. So this week's 50-minute cruise to move the needle in your business, folks, has come to an end. Thank you again, Timothy, for joining me and sharing some awesome tips on how to be a media mogul.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So folks, if you're looking to achieve faster growth through content marketing and sales funnels, look no further than smoothbusinessgrowth.com. So have a profitable and productive week, folks, and may the winds always be at your back.